Today, we're talking about how utopian technology uses reward. Hi, I am Eliziam and welcome to my channel. Now, I am joined by Andrew today. Thank you so much for coming along, Andrew. We're talking about reward.
Clearly my reward for behaving well is that I've been invited back.
Yes, I was going to tell you the check's in the post, but it's really not.
What about salt and pepper check? I do take salt and pepper.
Okay, now that's not a bad idea. So in order for this collaborative video to take place, I would like to offer you 5 salt. Do you accept?
I accept.
Excellent, thank you. So I will action that, but not until the work's done. Okay, now the reason we're talking about reward is I've got some exciting news. I am going to be interviewed on Reshma's podcast this week.
Oh, that's amazing. Congratulations. And I'll look forward to...
Thank you so much. Well, actually, what I'm going to be talking about is reward. And I was chatting with her before we came on and did this recording. And I said, oh, that's what's missing. We don't actually have a video yet about the utopian ethos of reward. So maybe I should record that and then we can kind of link that as a kind of theme. And so I will link in the description to Reshma's podcast because I'm sure it will be amazing. I hope so. If you can cast your mind back, Andrew, we spent a long time talking about the gamification of the platform and how we could use reward in a positive way. And we spoke about social media. Do you remember this conversation? And we were talking about the dopamine hit that you get when you use social media.
One of the big interests that people tend to have with social media is vanity metrics. But that really, to be honest, as I've said to you a few times before, the clue's in the name.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if it depends what you're trying to get out of social media as to really what kind of rewards you're really seeing from vanity metrics. You might be getting 1,000 likes, but if you're looking for sales and if you're actually getting conversion and making sales, those vanity metrics aren't really doing anything for you. The one that you're more likely, the other end of the scale is with organic impressions. So that's the number of people who are seeing your post. And the higher your organics, the harder it is to get engagement, because obviously if you've got 500 people seeing it and only 2 are looking at it, then your engagement is low. But if you've got only 10 people seeing it and you've got 2, then your engagement is much higher. But ultimately, I think, and we touched on this in other videos, ultimately what you want to really ascertain is what is the reward? Is the reward your dopamine hit that you're getting from the fact that you've got more likes than you've ever had before, ever? Or is it that, wow, 3,000 impressions off of that? Or is it actually that you have achieved what you set out to achieve when you put the post into whatever social media platform you're using? So I think the first key for me with reward is, what are you actually trying to achieve? Because the reward is probably you achieving what you're setting out to achieve.
You sound like a man who is quite familiar with finding his way around vanity metrics.
I don't know what you mean.
Yes, you do.
Anybody think I have the stats package open on my desktop?
I know you do, but I totally get it. So for us, we keep an eye on our metrics because we are trying to learn how to respond better to our audience in order to become more popular, I suppose, to have a wider reach. But if you think about the dopamine hit that we've been talking about, you put a post out on social media, whether it's a picture or a video or some text or whatever, and when you get your likes, your positive responses, your comments, your retweets, for example, reposts, then it does kind of make you feel like, oh yeah, I did a good thing there. And if we think for a second about how that affects our brain, it's almost like either intended or an unintended consequence of being conditioned to perform for likes, is that we are becoming intensely ego driven, that we are doing things purely to get the response. And we spoke for a long time about how that's actually quite a dangerous situation for the human race. Do you remember this?
I do. I mean, I think the thing with vanity metrics as well, though, is that they are a bit of a yardstick. If you didn't have them, you wouldn't really know whether you were achieving something or not. And I think, for example, if you look at engagement, if I was getting 1,000 impressions, but I wasn't getting any likes, that would be telling me something. Or more particularly with us, if I was getting 1,000 impressions and this many likes, but we weren't getting any new people joining Scribble, or no new people were taking an interest in Utopian, or I wasn't getting any. For me, it's engagement. It's people coming to me in DMs. It's people joining Scribble. It's people coming and asking what Utopian is. It's people taking an interest in what we're doing. It's people watching your channel. That's the reward. That's where the dopamine comes from me. But is it an unhealthy state? Is it narcissism? It can be in the wrong, if it's used in the wrong way. But I think what the bottom line of Utopian, if you go right to the ideal of Utopian 200 years from now, or whenever it happens to be, people would be doing things where the reward is happiness. People would be doing things where the reward is the fact that they get something out of a buzz, out of doing something constructive, being collaborative, being creative, being compassionate, being kind. And that would be the reward. And the way that you achieve that, I think, is by working on the neurology of people and working on the idea that if you create positive habits, if you create things which are collaborative and creative and compassionate, but they are rewarded in some way for doing that, that is a step towards moving into this situation where people realize it's not wrong to do a job you enjoy.
No,
it's not wrong to help people.
I completely agree with you. And I think one thing I remember talking about with you was how we've got to work with what we've got. And so if you take an overall objective and unbiased look at the human race, most of us are motivated by one reward, and that reward is money. If you think about kids, I even do it with my own kids, maybe I shouldn't, but if they help around the house, if they do some chores to help, then they get pocket money for doing those. And it was the same when I was a kid too. And it's almost like that conditioning to accept money as a kind of reward that happens from a very, very early age to a lot of people. And then when we grow up, we accept that money in return as a reward for doing jobs that fulfill a requirement.
Interesting, because I don't think there's anything wrong with giving pocket money for teaching children to have a good working ethic. But I think the missing ingredient is that, if possible, we should be trying to ascertain what the kids actually enjoy doing. So the key is, here's some pocket money, and we are encouraging you to do a job which you actually enjoy doing. Because Dad, just for the record, cutting the lawns every week didn't really do it for me. Just saying.
Yeah, but at the same time, if I was to actually concentrate on what my kids wanted to do, then I have all of the rooms painted in very bizarre random colors, which, might be cool. And you can tune in to hear the next part of this conversation tomorrow. There is just enough time for me to ask you to like, subscribe, and put the bell notification on so that you never miss an episode. And remember, if you like this video, don't tell me. tell your friends.